Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today what I have here just arrived from China is a network adapter for the Sony PlayStation 2, the FAT model, except this is not a network adapter card like the ones we used to know, the original ones from Sony I mean, although there is this sticker and supposedly there should be an RJ connector underneath. Well, there's nothing underneath there. It's just a plastic interface or adapter which is able to hold a SATA drive by GameStar from China, and so we can have a hard drive, a SATA drive connected to our PlayStation 2 FAT, and then of course we can populate the drive with several favorite games, and we can play using the hard drive instead of any USB stick. Using this connector here, we're gonna be using a SATA drive. It's not a bootleg, it's a decent product. Of course, again, there is no network card ability on this one. I assume it has something to do with copyright rights. Anyways, it looks decent. Looking forward to testing this, and of course we need to have a SATA drive somewhere around. We need to format the drive first. We need to stick it onto the interface, and then the interface on the back of the console, and pretty much that's what we need to do. Of course, we need the FreeMac boot on a memory card right here, already in place, waiting for some action. Inside the card, my suggestion is you guys have the OPL loader along with the hard disk loader, which is going to make our life easier. So let's see what this guy can do. And about the console, I bought it recently because I had in mind I wanted to conduct this experiment, and I have replaced the laser lens already, so I can read discs, but I have never had the chance to open this expansion bay port before, and now that I did it for the first time, I can see clearly that the frame is damaged and squeezed or twisted somehow. So I didn't know that. And this bay is so large because you supposedly you can put IDE drives from the past also, and it can occupy the whole place. Well, in this case we can't because it's squeezed and damaged. And just for the sake of this video and for some experimentation purposes, let's try to fit an old ID drive I found somewhere around here in the lab. That's the way it should be, or it could be, if the frame was straight and intact, but now it cannot fit nicely because the frame inside is squeezed and damaged. Wow, that's interesting, but that's the way you could fit an IDE drive inside your PlayStation 2 FAT. Of course, we should have another adapter which has, apart from this connector interface here to get connected to the console, it should have, yeah, it goes right here. It should have another different connector down below, which should support ID connection instead of this one is SATA connection. So anyways, let's go ahead with the SATA drive, and if you have plenty, you can pick one according to your demand for the capacity and how many games you want it to handle. I have several of those salvaged from old PlayStation 3s. This one inside the SATA case right there waiting is 160 gigs. This one is 80, and I think I'm gonna go on with this one because I don't have many and I don't need that many games to be inside. The other one is 250 and the other one is 160 gigs again. So I'm gonna go ahead and be using this one with the 80 gigs. So I need at this point to write down the model of the drive, because we need to check compatibility with PlayStation 2 over some chart which is online, and it's always useful to check compatibility before we go ahead and install the drive to make sure that it's going to be recognized by the console. And so we need to go to ps2drivesexpect.com, which is a great guide indeed, and we need to look up for Toshiba and the specific model. And if something is not on the list, you can submit your hard drive and help the community and this guide grow bigger and more accurate. So we need to filter the manufacturer on the first very left, far left search bar, and then the model. And as far as I can see, this particular model does not exist, is not found. So in case this works, and again this is going to be another experiment, interesting today, no records found here, I'm going to submit the form and let them know that this model actually works on a PS2 FAT. And so let's move to my favorite part, as always, the hands-on action. Remove the plastic cover from the interface connector, and this is probably what you have been using so far. Like myself, I've been using a 16 gigs USB stick so far, with a few games inside, along with free Mac boot. But now we have new horizons here. We have a new way to go, better capacity and better performance, because this disk, just clip it in there and that's all on the SATA socket. This disk is far faster than the USB drive. Imagine that. So new horizons for our beloved reliable system from the past. Just slide in the whole thing now, the adapter with the hard disk attached. Don't be fooled, this one is not used. It's just a placeholder for I don't know what. Those two are the screws. The screws on the adapter are already there, so you can use a coin or a straight screwdriver to firmly screw it in place, and then we can conduct some tests. But first let's slide in the whole thing and see how this fits. And I think it fits nicely. As I said, the screws, you cannot really easily lost any screws because they're always there, very cleverly made, and you can use a coin or again a screwdriver to secure the whole thing in its final position, and then we can conduct some tests hopefully soon. I'm going to be using the hard disk loader. I'm going to show you in a while, in order to format the disk in initial format. I mean, of course I have seen a bunch of videos, and some other guys are being using the WINHIIP, which is going to be presented also over this video too, but I will format the drive using the hard disk loader. And it is just because every free Mac boot memory card contains several utilities applications, like this one, the hard disk loader, but some of you might not have it, or you might only have the open PS loader. So we are going to show how to do the same thing with WINHIIP instead, using the PC. But what I'm going to do now is to initially, following this prompt, format the drive using this tool, the HD loader. And so it will take just a while. I'm gonna hit continue now, and we can see that in a while, actually very fast, it will be formatted, and then it can be identified, it can be recognized by the console, and there you go. We have no games, of course, yet onto the disk, and the machine can tell that it's a 75 gigs drive. And this great tool also gives us 4 options. We can start playing a game, we can install a game, that means create a backup from the original disk, we can remove or even rename a game. Now, as I was curious, and I haven't done this so far, never in the past, I should try to create a backup from an original disk. I picked an old game, CD game, which is lighter, so we can get the backup that we need quickly. But this is a very interesting feature, so I wanted to try this. You can follow these steps and create backups of your disks, which is something very, very useful. So let's go straight ahead to the HD loader and pick the install option from the menu, the panel on the right, and then let's see what happens. As I said, I've never done this before, so install, and let's see how it looks, how it works. So it's looking for a disk, either a CD or a DVD. I picked this one, probably the worst game ever made, just because it's light and we're gonna be done in no time, just to check this ability to create backups using this tool. So we have it, the disk inserted, and now it's being detected, and the utility starts to be checking the disk. And let's see, it's the first time that I'm looking at this, and so we have a panel, lowercase capital letters and symbols and numbers in order to define the title, how we wanted this to be presented on the menu, or the actual title of the game. And yeah, as I'm doing this, I have to say this is a great feature, and this is a great utility, the HD loader. As I said, we have already formatted the disk, initialized the disk, and now we can make copies. And all these without the need of an external SATA case and a PC so far. So all we did was something that is based around this HD loader tool and the free Mac boot, of course, which is on the memory card, but we haven't used the PC just yet. The idea is we should, and we will eventually, because I need to add some game ISOs, images of games ready-made onto the disk, and this can only be done with the help of WINHIIP, the software that we need to install on our PC. But so far, the creating backups and formatting the disk and everything, so we can start playing the very first game, which has been saved as a backup. We can do it immediately and without any need of the PC so far, and that is impressive. So for those of you have a whole bunch of useful utilities and applications into your free Mac boot memory card, like the OPL loader, but you don't have the HD loader, just my strong suggestion is go and get it. And so we have the image prepared, 256 megabytes. It's a small game, already onto the games list. And so we have just created the first backup image from the HD loader itself. Very impressive. So again, if you don't have the HD loader, of course you can always load your games using the OPL loader. Either it is on USB stick or onto some hard disk drive, like what we're trying to do here today. I think HD loader, it's a great tool after all. So we are done with creating a backup. I'm going to remove the disk just to complete the test the right way, and I'm going to try to start the game from within the hard disk, and apparently it works fine. I didn't want to get fooled, and it was playing through the disk instead of the hard disk, and so I guess we're fine. It's absolutely fine. The image has been created and it's loading, and it's loaded, and the disk is not even inside the console, so that's great. It works just fine. Very useful feature, this one, creating backups from your own disks, so you don't have to scratch them, use them, or whatever. You want to keep them boxed for whatever reason, and of course save some time, loading time, and gameplay time, because it's much faster over the hard disk after all. So enjoy. Let's move now to the second part of the video, which is going to be the actual transfer of the game's images onto the drive, which means that of course we need to remove the drive from the PS2, from our console, and slide it in here into this SATA external case, and then connect the hard disk drive via the USB cable to our PC. And of course for this purpose we're going to be using the WINHIIP sophisticated and very useful piece of software, which apart from the fact that helps us with image transfer, it does a lot of things like data recovery and formatting the disk and all that. But we have formatted the disk already, so let's see how it goes. I have already downloaded and extracted the WINHIIP application onto my desktop. You have to run it as an administrator, otherwise it won't be working the way it should be. And so let's go ahead and select the drive we want to work with. Don't forget that drive 0 is always your PC's drive, so don't mess around with it. Just pick number 1, which is interesting. It looks like it's not recognized by the WINHIIP application. Maybe it's because it was formatted by the hard disk loader. So what to do now? I think I should try to press scan and repair the drive, although I don't know what's happening. Probably a hiccup because of the format, probably just because it was formatted by the HD loader instead of WINHIIP itself. But it looks like the repair is done. I can clearly see the game is still in there, all greens and check marks, and well, that is some lessons learned today. If we have formatted the disk via the HD loader, might give us some hiccups. So what comes next is I have another external drive that I keep all my game ISOs inside this drive, and now I have just picked one. Tekken 5 looks good to me. I can always change the title before the image can be transferred and hit OK, and it's installing. It's gonna take a while, but not that long. If you have CDs, usually up to 650 megabytes, it's going to be very fast. But if you have DVDs, the classic, the most common format for PlayStation 2 games, which is 4 or up to 4.5 gigabytes. It's going to take a bit longer, but so far what I have seen is it will take about a minute to transfer the ISO image onto the hard drive, and it's definitely very fast, a very fast process. So I'm gonna keep feeding the hard drive now with ISOs all this time as we speak, and now I'm gonna go ahead and transfer Prince of Persia, one of my favorites. So the transfer rate again on the hard disk drive, everything is faster. Gameplay or data transfer or ISO transfer or whatever. So it's worth it all the way. One thing that really put me into some thinking now is that we might have some hiccups, as you have seen, if you decide to go ahead like me and format the drive with HDLOADER and then try to transfer the images via the WINHIIP application. But with just the recovery step, the repair step from the utilities, everything works fine. But this is something that I didn't expect, to be honest. And so, well, we learn new things every day. And on top of that, today we have proved that this particular model from Toshiba works just fine on the PS2. So I'm going to submit the type, the capacity, the model number onto the website that we've seen in the beginning of this video, and let them know that this model is can be supported by PlayStation 2 FAT. At least that far I know. I don't know about the slim one. Now I have mounted the interface, the so-called network card, and the drive, the hard drive, on the back of the console again. And so here is the moment of truth. We should see the list through the HDLOADER, as it's gonna be giving us the list of the games added by WINHIIP already, and I hope it's gonna be working fine. No further compatibility issues between those two. And I'm gonna play Castlevania tonight, or Prince of Persia. And yes, we have several games here. I guess all the games that I picked and transferred, and so I'm very pleased. We have the whole list. Now, one interesting thing is that for a 75 or 80 giga drive, I can find barely 18 images or 18 games inside here, and this is because some of them are made for PS1, so they are smaller. And now, just to be on the safe side, I have opened the Open PS2 Loader, the OPL, the classic application that everybody has inside the free MacBoot memory card. Well, usually that's how it goes. And I just want to check that everything is being recognized and detected right. Okay, the same way like the HDLOADER, so OPL can also detect the games the right way, and everything is here, I guess. So yeah, just to confirm that both loading applications can recognize the games. That's pretty much what I wanted to do. So I'm happy with the results today. I have more or less 18 or 20 games in here, I don't know, which is good enough for starters, I guess. And what I was thinking is maybe I should prepare another video in the near future I'm going to use an IDE drive from the past, the really old big drives, and another controller or another interface to get it connected to, and try how this works, and prepare another PlayStation 2 FAT with a hard disk drive installed. And maybe during that second video I shouldn't format the drive with the HDLOADER, but go ahead and do everything from the very beginning using just the WINHIIP application instead. The new question now that might arise is if it's worth it, actually worth it to revive your old PlayStation 2 FAT model with something like this. And I guess since this device comes with a reasonable price tag, and the SATA drives you can find around also are not expensive anymore, I believe it's worth it all the way. So share your comments below if you will, because to me this is my favorite console ever, the best seller of all consoles ever built, and for me it's worth it all the way. So I would like to hear from you, to read your comments, whatever comes in your mind, and if you made it, if you have had any difficulties, but again I think it's worth it because it's simple and cheap solution, and you can place as many games as you wish onto the drive and keep it there forever. And I mean the cost is for the interface is one-off, and the drive as well. So I'll be catching you soon with another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.